News tonight, Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid al-Adha. Ashanti Regional Minister proposes rebranding of technical and vocational education. Hello, good evening. It's News Tonight on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Shirley Annan. President John Mahama has expressed his regrets to some Muslims who, for one reason or the other, could not make it to Mecca for this year's Hajj. He said, but for the slight hiccups, the process was entirely successful due to the many pragmatic measures that the government has initiated, including the upgrading of the Tamale Airport, which made flights direct to Saudi Arabia possible. The president was speaking at the Independence Square in Accra, where he joined the Muslim congregation for the Eid al-Adha celebrations. A report by Winifred Ifum.
Eid al-Adha, which means a feast of sacrifice, dates back to the days of Abraham, regarded as the father of all nations. Abraham showed faith by accepting God's instruction to sacrifice his only son. The Muslims who also trace the ancestry to Abraham celebrate that show of faith in Allah by slaughtering healthy rams. This year, the chief imam Sheikh Nuhu Shaributu was conspicuously absent from the celebrations as he is away in Saudi Arabia for the Hajj. In a speech, his representative Sheikh Hussein Zakaria advised Ghanaians to respect and protect the prevailing peace in the country. He also entreated the Electoral Commission to remain transparent. For the media, he did not ask for anything more than circumspection in their reportage. Sheikh Hussein Zakaria advised politicians to let their campaign rhetorics be clean and devoid of insults. President John Mahama said Ghana is undergoing transformation because of God's blessing of peace on the country.
We continue to move closer to fully realizing the enormous potential that our country holds in order to achieve the most optimum development that she is capable of. Across all sectors, we are laying a solid foundation for the imminent takeoff of what I call an economic transformation, God willing, in my second term in office. We have successfully bolstered all sectors in readiness for this takeoff. We're expanding our ports, we're building more airports, we're upgrading others to international standards, we're providing more buses to create easy transportation linkages between our towns and villages.
The sacrificial lamb for the celebrations was slaughtered. This gives way for all Muslims to slaughter their lambs. The sacrifices continue until the end of the morning prayers of the fourth day after Eid. Reporting for GBC24, Winifred Ifum, Accra.
We now bring you some reports from across the regions on the celebration of Eid al-Adha.
The Muslim community in the whole municipality of the Volta region also joined their counterparts countrywide to mark the celebration of Eid al-Adha. They were joined by the Volta Regional Minister, Ms. Ellen Adwa Intoso, and her deputy, Mr. Francis Ganyaglo, as well as political party representatives. Eid al-Adha is celebrated annually on the 10th day of the 12th month of the Islamic lunar calendar. Led by the acting regional chief imam, Alfa Anas Hamidu, the Muslims offered prayers for peace in the country to be sustained, especially as election approaches. The acting regional chief imam also implored politicians to be careful of what they say so as not to incite violence. The regional minister presented some food items and cartons of water to the Muslim community on behalf of the Volta Regional Coordinating Council.
The Orthodox Muslims in Koforidua also congregated at the forecourt of the Central Mosque at Shrodai. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mrs. Mavis Amafrem Pongati, also joined the congregation to observe the day. The occasion was also used to demonstrate almsgiving, which is one of the 5 pillars of the Islamic religion. The importance of the day brought together hundreds of Muslims to the ceremonial ground for prayers, which was led by the regional chief imam, Alhaji Yusuf Amudani Suleimana. He implored religious bodies to abstain from partisan politics and urged media commentators also to be very circumspect with their utterances. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mrs. Mavis Amafrem Pongati, advised the Muslims to help maintain the peace and unity being enjoyed in the country. She said Allah did not like human blood, hence the sacrifice of a lamb in place of Ishmael. She entreated them not to indulge in any act that will cause violence.
From Wa in the Upper West region, hundreds of Muslims thronged the Jubilee Park to mark this year's Eid al-Adha. Most of the worshippers, dressed in white, sang songs of praises to Allah for granting them another year in their lives. The Imam of the Wa Central Mosque, Dr. Suleiman Bakuri, led the Orthodox Muslims in prayer, while the Ahmadis also observed their prayer at the T.I. Ahmadiyya Junior High School gardens. Dr. Bakuri asked the congregation to be grateful to Allah for whatever condition they find themselves. He prayed for the president and other government officials to empower them to be able to serve Ghanaians in a way that will improve their lives. The Wa Municipal Chief Executive Isaaku Nuhu Putiaha commended Muslims for helping to maintain peace which prevails in the region.
The Muslim community at Dunkwa-Onofin in the Upper Dentra East Municipal in the Central Region celebrated this year's Eid al-Adha with prayers at Dunkwa Abrankesieso. The municipal chief imam, Sheikh Mishabu Sidi Ali, urged Muslim youth not to allow themselves to be used by politicians for violence in this year's presidential and parliamentary elections. He said Islam is for peace and therefore Muslims should allow peace reign among them.
Ahmadi Muslims also gathered at the Akshanman in Accra to perform the Eid prayers, which is one of the most significant festivals on the Muslim calendar.
Adha signifies Prophet Ibrahim's submission to divine order to sacrifice his son Ishmael. Just before he carried out the order, Allah provided Prophet Ibrahim with a ram to sacrifice instead. At a prayer held at the Ahmadiyya Conference Center at Ashoman, the head and missionary in charge of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, Al-Haji Morfi Muhammad bin Saleh, said, "It is time for Ghanaians to exemplify or emulate Prophet Ibrahim's selflessness and have a peaceful heart."
Despite our ethnic, religious, and political diversity, we see ourselves as brethren who are prepared to pool all our ideas, talents, and energies together to build a united, happy, peaceful, harmonious, just, and great country of which both the present and future generations will be justifiably proud.
The Muslim faithful were advised to show respect to everyone, irrespective of race, color, or political affiliation.
At the T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School in the Ashanti region, hundreds of Ahmadiyya faithfuls gathered to mark this year's Eid al-Adha. They were led in prayers by the Ashanti Regional Missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, Maulvi Hamid Tahir. Also in attendance were a delegation from both the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. In a sermon, Maulvi Tahir asked the Ahmadis to freely take part in partisan political activities and join parties of their choice. However, the tenets of the Islamic faith forbids them to join any group of people or undertake any activity or behavior that could create conflict or chaos in the society. The Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Andy Osei Okra, commended the Muslim communities in the region for peacefully coexisting with members of other religious faiths. Now, away from those stories, a major problem facing Ghana today is that most graduates of technical and vocational institutions in the country fall short of the requirement of industry. This makes it difficult for such graduates to secure jobs. At the opening of a conference of principals of technical institutions in Kumasi, the Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Alexander Akon, said it is time for Ghana to rebrand technical and vocational education and training to improve acceptability of graduates of such schools.
The annual conference of the Association Principals of Technical Institution is for periodic review of the technical vocational aspects of Ghana's educational system. This year's conference was under the theme Technical and Vocational Education and Training Reforms in the Current Dispensation and the Way Forward. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Alexander Akon, said technical and vocational education and training is the bedrock for the formation of small and medium-scale enterprises, which, if properly supported, could successfully help manage the country's unemployment burden.
It is sad to mention that one of the problems facing technical education is that the current link between education and industry is weak. As a result, most TVET graduates fall short of industry skills requirements and are unable to secure jobs after completing school. There is a need, therefore, to realign technical vocational education training courses to industrial skills required in the country.
The Executive Director of Gratis Foundation, Mr. Emmanuel Esiedu, announced that they have received accreditation to run an institution of higher learning to be known as Gratis University College of Applied Technology. That university college will have campuses in all the 10 regions of Ghana. The President of the Association of Principals of Technical Institutions, Dr. Joseph Abe Kwapri, recommended the appointment of the Deputy Director General of GES for Technical and Vocational Education and Training Affairs as it used to be until the 1980s.
Construction of the Wapuli Community Day Senior High School in the Chirpani district of the Northern Region is almost complete. It will soon admit students for the 2016-2017 academic year. The school is one of the 200 Community Day schools the government hopes to establish across the country.
The Community Day School is expected to serve a number of communities in the Chirpani, Gushu, and Saboba districts. This is because the school is situated in the middle of the districts, a few kilometers away from the adjoining communities. In the predominant poor farming communities, access to affordable SHS is a major challenge. Children whose parents cannot afford to send them to the competitive senior high schools in towns are left to join their parents at home in their various communities. The announcement of the construction of the school came as a relief to parents and junior high school graduates, as it will be affordable and accessible to all. Work was progressing steadily on the project, which is at the verge of completion. The ceilings, windows, and doors had been fixed. The E-shaped structure is a 3-story building and is about 85% complete. Contractors are hopeful works on the project will be completed by the end of the month. The director in charge of SHS at the Ghana Education Service, Michael Inkum, was happy at the progress of work. He advised parents to enroll their wards in the new school when it becomes operational to reduce the risks and cost of sending their wards to rather far and expensive schools.
All students that will be successful will be taken care of here. The Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service, we are also ready. We are ready to send teachers here. We are ready to send all that they will need. We have computers standing by. We have books standing by to supply to this school to give it a very beautiful start.
Custodians released about 40 acres of land for the construction of the school. The residents who were happy about the project also appealed to government to expand other infrastructure works in the area, especially with the provision of a health center. Meanwhile, a similar project at Bamboy in the Bole district of the Northern Region is also almost complete. The GES hopes to admit fresh students for this academic year.
The First Lady, Mrs. Lordina Mahama, has arrived in Côte d'Ivoire to attend a summit to sign a joint declaration against cross-border human trafficking and the worst form of child labor with her Ivorian counterpart, Mrs. Dominique Ouattara. The signing ceremony, which will take place tomorrow, is in recognition that the victims of human trafficking and the worst forms of child labor needs special attention and collaborative measures to combat the activities of traffickers. The First Lady, who was received on arrival by the First Lady of Côte d'Ivoire, Mrs. Ouattara, was welcomed by Ghanaian residents in Abidjan who had gathered at the airport. She is accompanied by the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyelitha, and the Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations. State of the Race Vice President Kwesi Arthur has corrected an erroneous impression created by NPP's running mate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in his recent lecture in Accra at an NDC campaign in Ashaiman near Tema. Mr. Arthur said, although he does not intend to respond to Dr. Bawumia's allegations against the government, it was proper to state that it was normal for paid interest on any infrastructure to be more than the capital expenditure, and therefore to seek to state the reverse was sheer dishonesty.
It was all joy at the Mandela Park when an enthusiastic crowd of the National Democratic Congress supporters welcomed the Vice President to the grounds. Since its creation, Ashaiman constituency has always fallen to the ruling NDC, increasing its votes in each elections. This time around, the constituency is targeting 85,000 votes. The regional leadership said of the 35 seats in Greater Accra, they are working assiduously to increase their number of parliamentary seats from 20 to 25 with an aggregate votes of 1.5 million. The party is not leaving anything to chance in the capital because out of the 4 swing regions, Greater Accra is the most influential given its dense population. The party's leadership feel it is achievable considering the level of economic and infrastructural developments that have taken place in the capital under the watch of President John Mahama.
In 2012, 230,000 votes highest per ballot, almost 120,000. Adia Ukemwa Ekwama NBC say Nami Nana Komwa and Kagapa Batayani Akufado almost 500,000. Let's educate our voters. Let's show them how to vote.
At the Ashaiman campaign, the Vice President took the pains to correct his critic on just one point: higher paid interest over capital expenditure.
If you borrow money to build a road, you have to pay back that money. So whenever you have taken money and paid interest or repaid the amount you collected, it is for the road that you borrowed the money for. So that road is the one that you are paying for. So there's no way you are paying interest for nothing at all. You pay interest only for projects that you have borrowed money for. So how can you say that you paid interest more than capital expenditure? It is that capital expenditure's money that you are paying as interest. So this one is a simple thing. In primary school, you learn it. I don't know how people who have education cannot understand this simple concept. In economics, we call it classification. You have to classify that interest payment into the things that you use that money for. You don't pay money for nothing. You don't pay interest if you haven't borrowed money. John Mahama has worked hard and has developed this country to an extent that we haven't seen for many years. So we have to be grateful and he wants to continue, we have to give him the opportunity to continue.
He later introduced a few of the parliamentary candidates from the eastern part of the Greater Accra region to the people. They included Ebi Bright, Kempis Ofosuware, James Enu, and Sam George Nate. The rest were Comfort Doyo Gansa, Linda Oklu, Christian Otute, and Ernest Nogbe. They are expected to work hard to secure an absolute majority in the next parliament.
The international news is next. Please stay. You've been watching News Tonight on your all-news channel GBC24. Before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made headlines. Muslims the world over today celebrated Eid al-Adha. All the various Muslim sects gathered at various grounds to perform the Eid prayers, which is one of the most significant festivals on the Muslim calendar. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Alexander Akon, is calling Mr. Alexander Akon is calling for the rebranding of technical and vocational training to improve their industry. According to Mr. Akon, most graduates of technical and vocational institutions in the country. That's all in News Tonight. Thank you for watching.